we need to talk about AusAlert. And I know I've spoken about this a few times now, but we're getting more details. And what I've learned today, I really believe the Australian government is betraying people in domestic violence relationships with the introduction of this SMS system, because concerns have now been growing about how the government can override your phone settings to deliver messages and alarm sounds, even if you want to turn them off. Remember, last week I showed you how to get rid of the notifications. Then I found out that only applies to the priority notifications, not the critical alert. And we were told to turn the phone off or airplane mode during the test. But it gets worse today, because at a press conference, it only served to expose the additional dangers for people in DV situations who have a secret second phone, often referred to as a safety phone. We're now being told that anyone who does not want to receive the alert should turn their phone off, get this, for a full 24 hours after the test on Monday. That's this Monday, the 27th. That's because you could still get the alert despite having your phone off during the national test. And there's a good reason those people who have a secret phone from their partner do not want to get this alert going off if there's a chance an abusive partner is around, because this is what the alert will sound like. It's not subtle, and it will still make that noise even if your phone is on silent or you have Do Not Disturb on. You can imagine why some DV groups are concerned. But it gets worse. With this new alert system going live, this is the advice being given to people in violent relationships with one of those secret phones.
We know that many people who are living with domestic and family violence and sexual violence have a hidden phone as part of their safety plan. As Minister McKnight mentioned, the national test will be a critical alert, and this means it will sound through a device that is on silent or do not disturb. WESNET's recommendation is that on Monday, if you do have a concealed or hidden phone, to support your safety, that you consider turning that device off or switching it into aeroplane mode 1 hour before the national test on Monday, and to keep it off or in aeroplane mode for 24 hours. So you will still receive an AusAlert national test if your device is on silent or do not disturb. However, a phone that is switched off or in aeroplane mode will not receive the alert. Once the National Emergency Alert System is officially in place from October, people using hidden phones as part of a safety plan will need to make their own decision about whether or not they, the risks of having their phones on a permanent basis, or whether it's safer for them to keep their hidden phones off when they're not in use.
So let me get this straight. Women, and I know that men can be in domestic violence situations, but this is the Women's Services Network, who have apparently been working with the government to deal with the situations of this AusAlert test. But they are telling women in abusive relationships who have a secret phone that if you don't want to get these critical notifications, you need to have your phone off full time. Well, isn't that something? These women have the second phone because of an abusive partner. The partner might take control of their phone and take the phone off them. And you're now saying that they need to keep their hidden phone off full time. So she's being beaten. She goes to another room, locks herself in the room, goes to her phone. He's banging on the door, pushing through, and she's trying to turn the phone on and fumble with it to call the police. I mean, are we serious? Is that what we're advocating here? That the government is allowed to override what we want to do with our phone. If we don't want critical alerts, that is our choice. And as we've discussed, this is a really valid concern, a really valid reason. Even the Women's Services Network agrees that it's a valid reason. But instead of allowing people to opt out, The government has decided that everyone has to get this alert. And when I updated this story this week with the information that you need to turn it off or have it in airplane mode, I stupidly believed that you'd only need to have it off while the alert test was taking place. But no, they're now saying you have to have your phone off for up to 24 hours just so that you don't get that notification, because it may be pushed through when you turn your phone off or turn it back on an hour after. So you can't use that second phone for 24 hours. And then if you're in a domestic violence situation, you're told to have that hidden phone off completely now for fear of there being a critical alert and your abusive partner finding that phone. Amanda, can you play that alert again? Let's remind ourselves what's going to happen to every phone in Australia that isn't turned off or in aeroplane mode. This is what you're going to hear. It is outrageous. It beggars belief. It beggars belief that a women's advocacy group can actually side with the government and say to women, turn your phone off. And it's not that big a deal because there shouldn't be too many critical alerts. It shouldn't be used that often. I am all for us having this critical alert system. There are good reasons for it. If something is happening, it's a system that can alert us to major events. But even then, we should have the right not to have something sent to our phone. We live in a democracy. We have just all had our rights taken away. If we don't want to get this from the government, too bad. You're getting it, sunshine, whether you like it or not. That's not democracy. That's government overreach.